Okay, now let's talk a little bit about using variable updates inside of nested for loops. We want to be able to do some more fun stuff, right? So I want to start with the same basic data as before, have all the same data. And last time we printed in this very specific format, but maybe that's not the best format. Maybe we realize that I want more information. Instead of printing out each and every day, let's print out instead the average for the whole week for a particular city. And so let's say the average for San Diego, I'm going to print out San Diego. And then I want to print out colon. And then AVG, average temp. And I don't know what the average temp is. I'm just going to ballpark it and say it's going to be +4 +5 -3, 2. It's actually going to be around 75. And then we'll get the average temperature for Anaheim. And I don't know what that's going to be. Let's say it's 81-ish. And then Las Vegas, average temp, and let's just say that's like 95. It's probably higher than that, but I'm just guessing because I'm going to let the computer figure it out for me. So I want to change the format to print like this. I'm not printing out every value now. Instead, I'm printing out the averages. So if we go back to, not that, go back to the code, I want to modify this now. Instead of printing out every element separately, I want to compute the average temperatures instead. And so sorry, before I do this, let me just make a copy of it. Instead of just erasing everything. So in order to do this, I don't need that. I don't really need that. And let's actually, I do want lines between everything. So let's say there's a line. So I'm going to leave the line. Just helps it look a little bit better. Well, I need to compute the average. And we know to compute an average, we have to sum up a whole bunch of variables. And smooth that out. And so what value am I going to add to it? I'm going to add the current value of the current row and column. So I go through the row, I set the total to 0. I loop through all of the temperatures in the column and I grab each value and add it together. That's going to give me a total. Once we exit the inner loop, I can now calculate the average. It's going to be total divided by the length of this list. That's going to give me the average. Right. I could have actually just put 3, or sorry, 5. I could have put 5, but we know that's actually not a good idea. If for some reason I change this to count for 7 days or 3 days, I don't want to have to update the code down there. I just want to change the list up here and this will work. So we just use a more general form. And let's put a new print statement in. I'll leave this one here for a second. For now, let's just make sure the average is getting calculated appropriately. I'm going to delete that for the moment. Let's just print out the average. So we'll loop through the outer loop, and inside there, we'll sum up all the columns, calculate the average, print it out, and print a line. And just so we know when this thing is done, just so we know where the end is, just so we don't have to guess. Save and run. So the average of San Diego is 70.4. The average of Anaheim is 82. Oh, that's that fourth one I had. I got to remove that fourth one in a second. But it worked, right? It picked up that fourth one, that fourth city that I don't have a name for. And the average of Vegas was 101. And then we got program is over. So first, let me go fix my data. Let me get rid of that phantom city. Now let's rerun it again without the fake city. Okay, San Diego, Anaheim, Las Vegas. Okay, so we finished that portion of it, but it doesn't match this. I still need the name of the city, and I still need to fix up the code a little bit. It wasn't average, it was actually average temp. And I need the name of the city, but I don't have the name of the city anywhere. Where do I get the name of the city from? We don't have those names listed anywhere. The program doesn't automatically understand which city belongs to which row. So I need to add the cities. Cities. And we said the first one was San Diego. The second one was Anaheim. And the third one was Las Vegas. And the reason we did them in this order is that this is index 0. And San Diego's data is at index 0. This is index 1. And Anaheim's data is at index 1. This is index 2. And Las Vegas's data is at index 2. So we kind of have a parallel array here. It's parallel to what's going on in this array. Remember, this one just contains a bunch of lists. So it's, sorry, this list is parallel to this list. We have these parallel lists. And so now when we're getting each row, we can get the city name for that particular row by looking up in the other array, other list. So I keep saying arrays because earlier today I was doing arrays in a different class. So we get the city name. We get the city name with the row. So at 0, I'm going to get the average for those numbers. And I'm also going to get this city name. And so it's going to print San Diego, colon, and then whatever the average was, which was like 75.4. And then for the second row, I'm going to get the average for these numbers in index 1, this row, and then it's going to print Anaheim. So it's going to look up parallel. In one list, I get the name of the city. In another list, I get the city's data. So I just get it in parallel. Just using the same row variable here, have the same 0, 1, 2. We just designate 0 to be San Diego information, 1 to be Anaheim information, and 2 to be Las Vegas. If we run this now, we now have San Diego with an average temp of 70.4, Anaheim with an average temp of 82.0, and Las Vegas with an average temp of 101.0. Which is, I believe, exactly what we wanted to print. So we've managed to actually print our format. And so this is actually how you write interesting programs using two-dimensional lists and nested for loops. We can do nested for loops and do calculations. And now we have the ability to do data processing. We can process large amounts of data in lists of information. And then we could print out statistics. Averages, medians, means, all that statistics could be found.